Okay, day whatever it is. Um, Today, while the guys crushed, I worked on the CEB press, calibrating it. I had never really gone in and set the blocks heights for the different selector positions, so I did that today, and I pressed some block. I was kind of recycling the blocks that I was pressing, but here's some ones I pressed today, and I really like them. They have nice crisp edges. They They seem good. It's a 1-to-1 I'm doing. So here's the interesting thing. My sand is soaking wet because I haven't covered it. I don't care about the sand because the sand, it's not like clay. The particles don't stick together when they're wet. I mean, they do, but not like clay. So it doesn't really matter if the sand is wet for mixing. And what I found actually is with the wetness of this sand, what it is, um, I looked at it and I was thinking to myself, oh no, I gotta dry all this sand. Well, it turns out if I just mix this at a 1-to-1 ratio with the clay, um, it comes out really good. It's like ready to press. So yeah, I moved this A-frame screen over here, tied on some boards to the side so that we don't have larger particles falling off the edge and getting into this strained, filtered sand. It's just a 1/4 inch filter. And that works good. Um, so when it's block pressing day, I'll probably have somebody over here working this, filling up wheelbarrows with sand, dumping them over there so that we can use. Um, yeah, so like I, I was thinking, sorry, I'm a little bit dehydrated. What I was thinking to myself at first was, oh no, I gotta dry the sand. I don't have a space for it. I was gonna move this screen and put a bunch of sand right there so it could dry, but screw it. What I did is, I've got this little meat hook right here because I was using a bathroom scale to weigh everything and that went kaput because it was just kind of a cheap Chinese. So I got this meat hook from the Mennonites and I assume that it's accurate. Thing's freaking dangerous. Literally a meat hook, but um, a full bucket of the white is of the filtered sand wet is about 60 pounds, and that's with it when it's wet and you filter it, it's a little bit fluffy. So keep that in mind. But okay, so 60 pounds, and I kind of just went with my gut feeling was that it's about 20% water by weight. So when you add equal part clay, um, subtracting 20%, like a 60-pound bucket, you would subtract 10% of that. And then you add equal part clay, and it comes out at about OMC. Basically, the blocks are pressing great. They're not bending coming out of the press, and yeah, it's perfect. Actually, I don't. It's just one of those rare things where it's just kind of perfect, which is good because we need that around here. So we still have the water and the sprayer, and I use that a little bit because I was recycling the blocks when I was calibrating the machine. So right now I have the 4-inch and the 2-inch coming out great, but between everything else I was doing today, I didn't get to the 3/4 and the 1-inch, the 3/4 and the 1/4 block. It's actually not quite linear. So what I did when I found the 4-inch setting, I just divided it by 2 for my 2-inch, but it wasn't linear. So just had to play with it a little bit and trial and error. And I'm working over here alone, so I mix up my stuff in this bucket via a la meat hook. Um, and it just takes a while because once you press a block to break it back up and repress it, like this is all of this material was block right here. So I was just breaking it back up with shovel because I really don't care about having a bunch of random size blocks hanging around, and I don't want to take too much from my pile until it's time. So yeah, comes out just around OMC if you just mix it with the wet sand. So I'm hoping that I mean, yeah, I don't think that the sand will be any wetter than it is now with the amount of rain that we had recently. So if we have to add more water, it's not an issue. It looks like the crew came up with another improvement here. They shoved this piece of sheet metal that I had. I actually bought that rusty ass piece of sheet metal because I bought all this material from the scrapyard, and just bought that because I thought I might need some sheet metal for something. And it turns out it's really good for blocking the wind because we lose a lot of it. Like, see this powder right here? This is gold right here. That's CEB angel dust right there. So definitely want to try to keep all of that. And the wind's blowing, which it has been, which is really good for the drying the material. So if the wind's blowing, it kind of blows all that away. So looks like Renan is definitely distinguishing himself, coming up with all these ideas like the nail plate and now that. So crew is good. Crew is good. These guys, they know how to work, and it's definitely a lot nicer than working with volunteers. No offense to volunteers. Mountain is growing, as you can see. So if you consider this size, and I know it's a little bit dark in here, but if you consider the size of this, we have about 4 square meters here. So if you consider the size of a microhouse, we're getting really close to having the right amount of material. If this is half of what goes into the full perimeter of a microhouse, then yeah, clearly we're getting close. But we're also doing a floor and an outdoor kitchen, so that's gonna add block requirement. This video is getting a little long, so I'm gonna sign out. Adios from Tarptown.